Shalom, shalom. Hope everybody is doing well and enjoying this new spring season that has just come upon us. This is part 7 to the series, the Gregorian versus the lunar or ecclesiastical calendar. In part 5 and part 6, we went over some precepts substantiating the pagan origins of the so-called holiday that just passed with the chocolate bunnies, the resurrection service, and eggs, the eggs of a snake, basically, or the eggs of a chicken painted in diverse colors. And we covered some precepts pointing out that these traditions are not according to scripture, which means they're not according to knowledge. We went to Romans 10 and 2, um, Hosea 4 and 6, Mark chapter 7, verses 5 through 8, I believe, and then Colossians 2 and 8. And then we went further in part 6 to show the discrepancies between this Gregorian calendar that we follow and the calendar that is followed in the scriptures, which is the lunar/ecclesiastical calendar. And we went to Leviticus 23. We went to Deuteronomy, and we went to Exodus. I believe it's Exodus 12, 1 through 3, and Deuteronomy 16, 1 through 3. And we went through Leviticus 23, just showing the discrepancies between the actual months that these holy days are celebrated in the Bible, and this holiday is celebrated in the Gregorian calendar. And if you didn't see those, please go back and watch those. They're quick 10-minute videos, but they have a lot of sources backing up and substantiating the point and topics of this series. Now, right here in part 7, I'm just going to go back and get a few more witnesses, furthermore substantiating the pagan origins of this holiday that just passed with the Resurrection Sunday, chocolate bunnies, and the eggs painted in diverse colors. And I also wanted to point out that today is a new moon, meaning the beginning of a new month. This is the first day of the second month. And I'm actually going to come back a little bit later with another video because something happened here with this particular year in this first month that was pointed out in the book of Enoch. That Enoch kind of gave us a heads up to look out for, and this actually took place this year in this month. So right now, what we're going to do is go through and get a few more online sources, and I'll list these links in the description box for anyone to go through and look and research these sources yourself. I'm going to double back a little bit. I think I may have covered this source in part 3 or part 4, but I'm going to go back to historicmysteries.com/pagan-easter/. And from this website, we have a statement saying that this holiday most likely takes its name from the name of a goddess associated with spring, vernal equinox, and renewal. Spring, vernal equinox, and renewal, those are key terms. Because remember, at the beginning of this series, either in part 1 or 2, when Pope Gregory came into authority, there was a calendar crisis because this holiday that they were celebrating, which many just celebrated, was getting pushed further and further back to the beginning of March. But they wanted this so-called holiday to be celebrated at the vernal equinox. This was very important to them. Vernal equinox. And it says this holiday most likely takes its name from the name of an idol associated with the spring and vernal equinox and renewal. And we're also seeing a struggle here, because the Most High, well, not a struggle, but we're also seeing a spirit of competition here coming from an adverse side, because the Most High says This will be a new year unto you. But yet they have this idol associated with renewal. So let's keep that in mind. That'll be one of the key terms as we go further in this series. This idol was the Saxon mother goddess, who these people believe to be the source of all things and the bringer of new life. And as we know, when the Most High said this will be a new year unto you, it's the spring is when things spring anew. But yet they're taking this here and perverting it and make it into idol worship to something that they made up with their own minds, or something that someone made up with their own minds. Right? And it was someone who couldn't make a planet Earth or a heaven or a seas themselves. So you have to keep this in mind. Let's continue to read. Around the same time, Teutonic tribes worshiped the dawn goddess, who also represented fertility and rebirth. And we covered in part 3 or 4 how the rabbit is a symbol of fertility and rebirth. And you got to be careful and watch that, because a lot of these people wouldn't dress their children up as bunnies. I mean, I know that's a stretch. Some people have done it before, or even have these chocolate bunnies if they knew it really represented fertility and rebirth. This holiday, let's go on and continue to read. This holiday doesn't fall on the same date every year. That's another sign that there's something amiss with this, right? Thus, even this aspect of the holiday is connected with pagan celebrations of the cycle of nature. And here we go again, the vernal equinox. They keep talking about this vernal equinox, which is the base of this calendar crisis when Pope Gregory came into authority, right? They were chasing this vernal equinox because they were getting farther and farther away from it. But let's continue. The vernal equinox marks the time when the night and day are of equal length. And we'll get into that when we get further into our scriptures and precepts, into the book of Enoch and more precepts. It's also a celebration by pagan cultures to welcome the arrival of long days of spring and summer. But little do they know that the Most High already told his people that this is the beginning of the year. So you don't have to go through all these things in extra measures if you just listen to the word of the Most High Power, the Most High El, who already tells you this is the beginning of the year. He's already weighed these things out. He's already created them. He's already given them, and just wait. But let's continue. Let's get another witness. And like I said, I'll list all these links in the description box. This one is from www.yourtango.com/experts. And you know what? I'll give the link in the description box, so I won't go into all the character specifics, but this link will be in the description box. This is the www.yourtango.com link. In fact, and they say on this website, in fact, Easter is named after a pagan goddess who was worshipped for centuries before Hamashiach, which ties back into another point that we made earlier in the series, that this Julian calendar established by Julius Caesar, which was established in 46 BCE, couldn't have been had anything to do with Hamashiach, because it was established before he was born. And we're seeing here from yourtango.com that this pagan goddess was worshipped centuries before Hamashiach. But let's get another witness. This comes from www.huffpost.com, which I think is short for Huffington Post, but this is www.huffpost.com. However, the tradition of painting hard-boiled eggs during springtime predates Christianity. That goes back to this idol being worshipped centuries before Hamashiach. Let's read that again. However, the tradition of painting hard-boiled eggs during springtime predates Christianity. In many cultures around the world, the egg is a symbol of new life, fertility, and rebirth. This is where you're getting your eggs of diverse colors. Because when we go back up to one of our previous sources, the www.historicmysteries.com, it says that the name of this goddess is associated with spring, vernal equinox, and renewal, and she was believed to be the source of all things and the bringer of new life. Then we go back down to our Huff Post, which I believe is short for Huffington Post, HuffPost.com. However, the tradition of painting hard-boiled eggs during springtime predates Christianity. In many cultures around the world, the egg is a symbol of new life, fertility, and rebirth. We're starting to see some links here. You got the egg being the symbol of new life, fertility, and rebirth, and this pagan goddess being a symbol of new life, fertility, and rebirth. So let's get another online reference. This comes from www.msn.com, which says originally nothing that this holiday holds as tradition had anything to do with the scriptures, as we discussed in part 5 and part 6 of the series. As previously mentioned, goes on to read, as previously mentioned, the Bible contains no reference to the Easter bunny, like we talk about. He technically has nothing to do with Hamashiach's resurrection, as we talked about, right? This Easter bunny is vainly worshiping Yahweh Shai, Mark 7, and 8, not according to knowledge, Romans 10 and 2. It's a man's tradition, Colossians 2 and 8. And the people who do this are serving the Most High with a lack of knowledge, Hosea 4 and 6. But let's continue to read. Instead, notes NBC News, the rabbit's roots can be traced back to ancient paganism and the deity goddess of spring, rebirth, and fertility. Her icon was the rabbit, thanks to its ability to quickly procreate. Whoa. Now, all these parents out here, if they knew this, they wouldn't dress their children up as bunnies or put chocolate bunnies around in the house, knowing that this bunny is only being symbolized with this holiday because its ability to quickly procreate. That's not for children. So we see here that we have multiple sources, which again, like I say, I'll list in the description box. We have multiple sources here stating that the origins of this so-called holiday are pagan in root. And like I said, we have a few interweaving points that keep coming back up. Goddess of fertility, rebirth, and newness, spring equinox, and the rabbit being a symbol of fertility because its ability to quickly procreate. None of which have to do with Hamashiach. So I want you guys to think about this. Check out these sources when you get a chance. And think on this clearly and reason within yourself. Ecclesiasticus 27 and 5, a man's judgment is within his reasoning. And I'll be back, not with part 8, but my next video is just going to be a quick video pointing out what we had special going on this year as far as the first month of the year. So this will be part 7 of the series. Yeah, this will be part 7 of the series. I want to make sure I get that right because I keep messing that up. This will be part 7 of the series. I'll be back with the video explaining the special event that took place the first month of this year. And then part 8 will be after this. Please check out these references, these sources, and reason within yourself and think about these things. All right. Shalom.